Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are beginning a new series of Hearts of Iron for today. We are going to be playing the Kaiserreich mod, which is an extremely interesting and comprehensive mod. And as I go through the new game selection over here, I'm going to talk a little bit about that mod. So the basic premise of this is it's a full conversion mod, I would say, in terms of the history. And it has changed everything on the premise that Germany won World War One. And everything has changed. So we're going to select over here. You can see the German Empire still exists, and it is ruled by Wilhelm II. While all of the allies basically lost, you can see Eastern Europe fractured into various smaller countries. Most of them, or a number of them, are allied to Germany or puppets of Germany. Union of Britain and Commune of France have fallen to nearly communism. It's called syndicalism in this faction, which is more of a, well, unions come together and just rule the country. The US has the promise or the premise of probably going into a civil war. The native, or let's say the UK government, left to Canada, so King George V is now only ruling over Canada, while they were obviously kicked out of the UK. Russia is still democratic, it's not syndicalist, but it might go many ways. You can see there are many fractions living over here. We've got the Ottoman Empire, we've got many different things. You can see some German colonies over here, so this is an extremely detailed and just lovely scenario, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Italy has fractured over there as well, so yeah, many things. We'll be sort of seeing that as we go ahead. Now the country that I want to play is down here in India. So you can see India has splintered into three different factions as well. We got the Dominion of India, which is pretty much the remainder of the British Raj. So what is left of the British colony after Britain itself sort of dissoluted. We've got I'm not going to even try to pronounce that over here. The Commune over here, which would be fun. This is a syndicalist faction, or radicalist socialist. They are very much leaning on syndicalism though, so pretty much communism if you want. So the last one then is the one I want to play. That's the Princely Federation down here. This is an independent Indian faction. It's sort of built on a nearly feudal federalist kind of structure. And you can see there's a lot of backstory here behind pretty much any leader, and that's just the amazing thing about all of this. But I think this would be nice. I was toying about the idea about playing the communists over here, but you know, with Great Britain and France being communist or sort of communist syndicalist, and Russia often falling to syndicalism, I think there's a little bit more of a challenge in going for sort of a conservative run over here. So you can see this guy here has united in the aftermath of the bloody or first civil war, in the chaos. Let's call it the chaotic period after Britain dissoluted. This guy has pretty much united the southern princes here under still sort of federal structure. So there, I nearly began this with Iron Man mode. I usually do like to do Iron Man mode, but when I'm doing a Let's Play, I think this is not quite what we need to do, because, well, sometimes it just fails. So here we are, Kaiserreich mod and all. There are a lot of things, and this is, I must applaud their team. They did a very good job. So, let's look at the country and what we need to do over here, and yeah, go a little bit through that. So we've got a number of divisions. It's not the most, 28 divisions or so. Our neighbors, which obviously we want to go to war with at some point, are pretty much on par with us. I think most of them are a little bit better in terms of industry, somewhat on par in terms of military divisions, but of course we do have some very big drawbacks. So firstly, we've got this decentralized rule over here, which is decreasing our stability to 30%, which is really not that great. And we've got the backwards economy, which is dramatically reducing our output. So factory output minus 20%, production efficiency output minus 20%. That's horrible. That's pretty bad. Other than that, we also got, in terms of ministers, we've got the Council of Princes over here. And in Kaiserreich you cannot really change that unless you're going through the national focus tree. And this one really isn't that great. We are getting less consumer goods factories, which is nice, but we're also getting daily power gain, a negative daily power gain, so we are losing some power over here, and that of course is not great. In terms of production, we do have how many? I think 6 military factories. Not that great. In terms of construction, we only have 9 consumer goods factories, so not that great either. So yeah, we are really backwards over here, and this is of course not going to be one of the playthroughs where we have an enormous amount of tanks. The one thing going forth is the manpower, so that's pretty nice. We do have about a little bit more than 750,000 men over here. Probably about 1 million men with all of these people here combined. By the way, you can see a lot of these guys here are utterly inexperienced, so that is an issue that we do need to tackle. We should also mention that in terms of research, first of all, we only have 3 research slots. Secondly, you can even see we haven't even researched weapons 1. We are still stuck with the most basic of all infantry weapons. So that is obviously something that we want to correct at some point soon. And other than that, there's really we are anywhere in our research tree. So yeah, we'll need to tackle that. Now this is of course one of the things that I want to probably research very early on, but there's an issue here, and that is if we do look into our weapons manufacturers, I would very much like to get the ordnance factories here, because they do give us a 10% boost to soft attack, and that's nothing to be shunned at, but that needs to be activated before we research the new weapons. So let's look at the national focus tree and see what gives. So over here on the left, we've got the political tree. So here we do sort of decide how our nation is to be structured internally, and you can go and see it kind of goes into different ways. We can have a federalist government, we can declare sort of paternal autocrat thingies with more or less centralization. Let's call it dictatorship, paternal autocrat, and federalist government. So that's behind this tree over here. There are a lot of things behind that. Then we've got a little bit our research tree that goes down here, or just expanding our research capabilities. Here we do gain an extra slot. That would be nice to get. This one is extremely important. This is our economic trail. So here we can build new infrastructure, which honestly I tend to ignore a little bit more than others maybe, but most importantly here we do get new factories, and this is an enormous boost here. Remember, we do have currently 6 military factories. Here we would gain another 4, so that's an enormous boost. We also do get to this point here where the backwards economy would be sort of the negative effect from that would be halved, and down here we can get rid of it completely. But this one does require that we do all of these national focuses before that, so that's going to be some way down the road. We can expand the Air Force, we can expand the Navy, that's I think pretty self-explanatory. We can do army reforms, and there's sort of 2 trees behind that, the centralization or the princely states. We're going to have to see what we do really want to do there. And then of course we do want to have there's the final struggle here, where we can either fight the guys in the north, well not either, or it can be and, or the guys in the east, so the either the syndicalists, sort of communists, or these colonial regimes that are left. And once we have united everything, we can of course do various things down here. But that is going to be some way down the road. Now, it would be really nice to grab this one here early, just for the political power, so that I could maybe switch into the infantry division, into the infantry designer early, but we can't do that. So we're going to start here with the construction methods and going to go down here this road, because I did have a little test game, and it looks like once you do these types of research, national focuses, then you do get a little bit of political power as well, so that's nice. That would be via event. Let's start with that, that's fine. Let's set our research. Of course we're going to go for industry, so let's go for this. We could go for construction 1. There is something to be said about that, because to go here we do need construction 1. On the other hand, this one here gives a research boost for that. So I'm kind of on the fence whether we really want to do that now. So I think not. I think we're going to wait for that. We're going to pick one intermediate focus after that, but that should be fine. Engineering, I do like to grab this one. It's only 80 days. It's going to be increasing our research speed by 3%, which is not to be shunned at. It's going to add up. So yeah, no construction for now. Engineering is fine. Of course, we're not going to bother with air or naval for the time being. We could go for land doctrine, but yeah, we might actually be already ready to research something over here. Or do we want to go for construction after all? Or land doctrine already? I mean, land doctrine is going to take an enormous amount of time. On the other hand, we might as well do the support weapons here first. And in 80 days we do have something, so that does match up nicely. We do have 3 civilian factories. A lot of people do like to build more civilian factories. I think military factories are the most important thing that we do have. And of course we're going to start somewhere where we do have decent infrastructure, which would be, well, pretty much nowhere. But I'm guessing over here should be fine. Right. So yeah, let's build up a little bit of that. And the reason for that, military factories are cheaper, and that's fine. We're going to grab all of our guys, we're going to put them into a new army. This army is going to be part of a new group. We do have pretty much our main guy, our actual head of state is going to be the leader of the army group. He's going to be the sole field marshal. And this general here is actually pretty decent. Infantry leader factor, organizer planning speed, kind of decent stats. Yeah, he's going to be the main guy. Let's also grab the cavalry divisions that we do have. Put them into a new army over here. You're also going to be part of this group. And you are going to be led by this cavalry officer here, and that's going to be great. And by the way, you can even see even our cavalry. Horrible experience. Now these guys do have a couple of other units around, and you can see we only really don't have enough equipment as is. So if we do have a look over logistics over here, no, that can't be probably updated. If we go under production, it's not 200. We are missing a lot of infantry production, and you can see a lot of these guys are actually pretty green. So what I want to do here is I'm going to grab all of these police divisions first, and we're going to disband those. And I think we're also going to grab these garrisons, and we're going to disband these guys as well. So that we have some material left to reinforce these guys, but also start up training of new divisions. We do have 2 templates over here. We might want to wait there. We might want to wait there because I think they are 18 combat with. Yeah, so same actually here with the infantry division 2, which does have some support artillery. But yeah, we're going to wait there a little bit, and that's fine. And before we start the game now, there's the one last thing that I want to do, and that is I don't think it does make sense to produce this type of infantry equipment anymore. We do need infantry equipment very, very badly, but it's too old. I don't like it. I would like to get new stuff. So what we're going to do in the meantime is produce some artillery, some support equipment. Let's do it, I think, more or less like, well, let's do 50-50, and that's fine. And we do need some steel. We're going to buy steel from, why not, the Germans. That should be fine. I don't think we're going to buy aluminium. That will decrease that, but that's fine. No divisions in basic training, that's alright. That's alright as well. Cool, there we go. Let's accelerate time here and speed up things a little bit, and that should be okay. And I think you guys here might as well prepare yourself to strike against these guys. Here's a lot of text. So again, I really admire the detail, the level of detail that these guys did put into this mod. This is a truly amazing piece of work. I'm not going to read through all of that. Do pause and look at it if you want. But it basically gives the background of our faction. So that's pretty fantastic, actually. Right, the cavalry here as well. Ooh, Kerensky. So that, I think, is in the US. No, Hoover. How about Barack? I don't know. No, Mother Russia. So, yeah, Russia is in turmoil. Pretty much the whole world is in turmoil. And as we zoom out here, you can see a lot of these things, especially in Asia. A lot of these nations sort of... this one, I think, is a German puppet. Yes, you can see that. Again, King George V is in Canada. I think he's also the leader of our guys to the north here. Yeah, it is. And I think Australia or New Zealand, they are still with him. But that's pretty much it. Sultanate of Egypt is independent. And probably going to end up in conflict with the Ottoman Empire. And we've got a new development over here. So the Totalist Charter, basically the lefts and rights do form a national syndicalism, Marxism, national syndicalism idea that goes a little bit, I think, to modern times, where, you know, sometimes the guys on the left, very far left and very far right, do work together more closely than you would have thought before. Edward VIII is crowned as King of Britain, of course in total absence, because King George V has passed, so that means, yeah, we are now at Edward VIII, famously abdicated in real life, but yeah, of course he's not in Britain yet, or at all, and that's fine. Right, we do have a little bit insufficient aluminium, that's, I think, okay. Let's look at the production over here, how much... Yeah, it's only reducing our production of support equipment by 10%, so I don't think it's worthwhile to sacrifice a civilian factory for that. That should be okay. Good. So, as we go about, there is another war over here in the north. We can't really interfere with that too closely, but basically Afghanistan is invading India. And here we go, the Black Monday. So, in this alternative timeline, it's not... the crash of in the 1920s on Black Friday in the United States, it's on the Berlin Stock Exchange because the German Empire is so much more important, but basically it's sending the world into crisis, and there are several political factors that you can do to deal with that for most states actually. And you can actually see it says my God, so not my God, but the German equivalent. Also, of course, the First World War here is called the Weltkrieg, so the German version of it. Sort of nice feeling of how sometimes the winner dictates how things flow. By the way, you can see we are still lacking a lot of equipment, so most of these guys have not enough infantry fighting strength. Yeah, it's basically all they have. Right, we do gain some base stability, that's nice to see and very lovely as well. New construction methods. Once we have new construction methods, we'll be blocked from getting this for a second there. And this year only locks on after June, so we will have to do something else. And I think, you know, this is not going to be a completely peaceful playthrough. So initiating army reforms, I think, would be a good idea. There are some very good factors down here, especially completing the army reforms. And there are different effects that you get from the centralized army structure. You can see division training time goes down. That's okay. Division organization and planning speed, these ones I like a lot more. And we've also got over here daily political power gain. That's nice-ish. Division recovery rate is very, very good though. Peace deal. We are still doing this, right? Yeah, 1 day left. There we go. Syndicalists take over Australasia. That's interesting. So they are going away from other factors. That's good to see. Right. Again, all of these other things I'm not that interested in. Army reforms is the way to go here, and that's fine. And in about 10 days, we should be allowing to. We should be allowed to do some other things. More things that are happening in the Balkans. Over here and with the Pope. Again, we're not going to go into every single detail. It's really, really lovely. I think it's very well designed. Modify government. We could go ahead and pick another guy for military intelligence. That would cost us a little bit of political power. And I do want to use our political power to other ends. Let's see, how quickly would you pay off? You would cost us 50. So that's about 500 days. I think not for now. We're going to wait for for the army tech, because that's really the most important thing for us right now. We do need to get to produce come on, hold my thought. Infantry equipment here. Right, basic electronic stuff, that's very nice. Let's go to industry, let's go for construction, that should be fine, 80 days. So we're gonna finish a little bit after we do the army reforms. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I think all in all, okay. Also a little bit of basic machinery tools, that's nice. Papal conclave, yes, that's okay. Tibet has joined the Great Khanate, so do we have a faction map mode? I think we have one. Diplomacy, let's just pick diplomacy. Oh well. I thought there was a faction map mode. Diplomacy? Factions. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So here's the Reichspakt, the German alliance. Here we've got the Syndicalist alliance. We've got the Entente, which still should include the Canadians. Australasia is not part of any faction right now. I very much suspect that they will join these guys. Support weapons, that's nice-ish, and basic machinery tools. So let's get over here. We could produce this. Engineering, still okay. We are still very early on in 1936. So yeah, this we can't do. Weapons, we are waiting a little bit for our political power to accumulate. Could do some of these things. Could do this. But I think really the most important thing is probably the research speed and of course our industry. So we have to make a choice between concentrated industry, which gives us more factory output, which is extremely important, especially for us, because we do have this negative modifier, and these are just additive modifiers as far as I understand. So this would be a really, really good boost. This here does give us also a little bit of factory output, but more importantly, it's not quite the same level, right? It's 5% or 15%, and here it's 10%. So there's a 5 percentage point difference. On the other hand, it does give us production efficiency base, and retention. So we tend to produce things earlier a little bit more. I think thematically, it might make more sense for us to do this because we are a little bit more of a princely confederation. So we are. But on the other hand, just the factory output, I think it's just a much better game choice. Ooh, that was weird. And then we've got a second slot to fill, so that has been dealt with. Engineering, I think this one is generally very good to take. Is there anything else in particular that we want? Well, we do need to think about our land doctrine. There are many ways this can go. We need to be aware that we are probably not going to use very much tanks. So with all of our tanks pretty much out of the picture, I don't think we are going to use mobile warfare. I'm not sure about the grand battle plan. There's the entrenchment. Well, entrenchment is nice, but is it enough? Max planning. Organization for infantry is good. Or superior firepower. Mass assault, I'm not even too sure. Reinforcement rate is nice. Out of supply, we don't care about that really. Lack infantry organization, but only 5%. A little bit more max entrenchment. Supply consumption, tanks again, not really that important. I'm not too sure this is really what we want. Recovery rate is great. So I've been thinking a little bit about superior firepower. All frontline battalions, soft attack plus 20%. I think that includes infantry. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you do know. Does this include the 20% boost to all infantry? Because if it does, it's hugely important for us. Lake organization plus 20% is great. 20% more defense is nice. Support plus gets a little bit less valuable down here. But again, infantry, soft attack plus 5%. Reconnaissance. Recovery rate, organization. I think this is just too great. All infantry. These modifiers to me are the much better ones. Still, Grand Battle Plan would also be interesting. All infantry, defense and organization, max planning. The entrenchment speed and max entrenchment are actually not that bad for us. Superior firepower or Grand Battle Plan? Tough one. Let's go Grand Battle Plan. I think it's nice. Good. So that was a little bit of a choice over there. Right. Are there any other factions? I don't think so. So let's just go back to normal default map mode. No wars yet. Of course, they do tend to break out over time. Not entirely sure why Austria has splintered so much. I mean, they would be in the winning faction in World War I, wouldn't they? Right. We don't know. Good. Initiate army reforms 7 days from being done. This is taking another 20 days though, so we probably want to do something else. Or we could just be accumulating the political power. Both of them would be interesting. Initiate army reforms. Okay, there we go. So, you know what? We're actually gonna wait here 20 days. We could go for one of these, but I'm thinking, let's try to deal with these things here as quickly as possible, and at the same time gain more political power per day. So that should be great. No national focus set, yes, I understand. And that's going to allow us to. Can I get rid of this, please? Here. Right, there we go. So we are accumulating a little bit more political power, and at 150, I believe, we can pick the other thing, and that will probably line nicely with this here. So yeah, I think that's going to be great. Ooh, Second Russian Civil War, just 20 years ago. And if you know my channel a little bit, I did, on basic vanilla Hoy, I did a little bit of a game of Russia descending into a new civil war, and we've got this from the other side here. So we've got Soviet Russia declaring itself independent from the rest. It looks tiny, but do remember that that is the most important industrial and economical part of Russia over there, including Moscow. So basically everything sort of east of that is a little bit less important. Right, so we've got this done, so we can switch to this over here. And I think that's what we're gonna do. We're still missing a little bit of political power, but we can run this a couple of days without being penalized too heavily. So maybe 20 more days and that should be okay. Yeah, while we're getting more political power, and then we can do this. Switch over and finally get the military factories. I know this is very sort of zooming in and focusing on one thing and one thing only, and that is getting the percentage boost on weapons 1 here, but I think it's well worthwhile. And I'm not sure whether you can start, so I'm not sure actually whether we could start this already and gain this boost if it's researched. You know what, we probably can. Yeah, let's not take the risk. It's only four more days here. But I'm not sure whether you need to start or finish the research. I think you need to start the research, but that's probably fine. One more day. Ooh, New Zealand crisis. Ah, so they are breaking up. In this alternative timeline, these guys were united, hence the name. Right, okay, here we go. Let's pick the Ordnance Factory board and let's sort of immediately start to research weapons 1. Only 80 days. That should be fine. Ah, there we have the first war between Australia and New Zealand. Let's see how they will do. And we are gonna get new weapons in 80 days. So that's fantastic as well, while we're doing this research or this national focus over here. 20 days, great. Of course, we do also want to boost our civilian economy and all of that to probably at least early mobilization, so that we can build up our things a little bit more. Ooh, New Zealand has joined the Entente. And I think Australia did descend into syndicalism, right? Yes. So we have got our first communist democratic war over here between New Zealand and the Australian Union. Interesting, very, very interesting. Oh, we also have army experience. Completely forgot about that. So let's edit our templates over here so that at least we are on combat with 20, which of course, as many of you will know, is much, much more preferable. And the same we're going to do for the infantry template itself. So that's hopefully nice and dandy. And I think what we want to do here is in division equipment, let's only use modernized equipment for the infantry type 2, which are supported by the artillery. And that should probably be fine. And then what we can do is start to train up a couple of these guys. Of course, we absolutely do not have the equipment, but I think that's fine. So we're going to go over here and we are just going to grab a couple of these guys here. And we are going to disband you, so that we have some equipment left and you here get a high priority. Yeah, there we go. At least you are training up a little bit. Good. So, that being said, with the first war here in play, we are still not going to war. Do we know anything about their expand the national railroad, expand mines? So yeah, they are also doing economical stuff. They're still in war against Afghanistan though, so maybe it would have been nice to strike early north, but I don't think it's even possible. I think to even unlock this over here, it needs to be 1937, so at least 1 year. So yeah, we are far away from that yet. But I think it's a good place to put in a cut here. So do let me know whether you are interested in this new series. Do leave a like and comment if you want. It's very useful for new episodes or new series, just to gauge how much interest you guys have in this. So yeah, very much looking forward to see you guys next time. Bye bye.